Time left. We continue to do our thing. Like Georgia's running backs in this game, what was it? 16 carries for 154 yards. Like should have been like 164. I'm not sure how Kenny McIntosh tripped on that one. Turf Monster got him on that one, or a Buffalo Wild Wings situation.
Well, he turned. I think he tripped over his own footing because, like, when he does that turn and looks away, looks behind him, he like, kind of trips over himself. I don't know if that was a turf one.
Yeah, he just tripped, but averaging almost 10 yards a carry on the ground, the running backs. So like they were big time. It was exactly what they needed. I couldn't believe that Georgia pulled this game out. I feel like it's one of the few games I think in my lifetime, especially a big game, where I would honestly say that Georgia didn't seem like the better team in this game, and they found a way to win it. Like I think that's where the experience comes in and everything. So Kirby Smart gets a lot of he's a great recruiter, but how good of an in-game coach is he and all that stuff. And I think we can put all that stuff to bed. Georgia can win games multiple ways. Like also the Ryan Day hot seat talk, like let's put that to bed too. Ohio State hasn't broken through under Ryan Day, but that doesn't mean they're not going to. That doesn't mean he's not the right guy for the job. Like this Ohio State team came to play. Like they played. That's the other thing is I don't think Georgia necessarily played well. Like Stetson wasn't sharp in the first half. So Ohio State seemed like they played just about their perfect game. And obviously Ohio State contributed to Georgia not playing well at times. But this seemed like Ohio State kind of playing their perfect game and still Georgia somehow finding a way to pull it out at the end.
Absolutely. Matt Green, TCU, Michigan. This was just an insane day. I was exhausted, and I didn't have a rooting interest in either of these games. And I was emotionally wiped here even just after TCU. And I thought I was going to get a nice normal Georgia beatdown to wrap things up, where I'm like...
That's the other thing. I was surprised that you picked a bigger margin of victory for Georgia than I did. I honestly thought you would have picked Ohio State to beat Georgia.
Matt Green, we have not had... Like, if you go through it, I think we've had 3 games in the semifinals that didn't end in at least 2-score victories by the other team, I think, coming in to this one. So, like, people who wanted to make them close, I'm like, there's no history that says that this is going to happen. Like, by and large, the semifinal has had at least one blowout. And then once Michigan and TCU went down to the wire, and that's what I looked at, I was like, TCU only plays close with everybody. Like, they just can't help themselves. Like, they just bring you down with them, and they're going to be in a slot fest with you, and it's just going to be fun, but it's going to be the cardiac frogs. And I was like, all right, well then... The
pyro toads.
Yeah, and I think the Dawgs are just going to blow out Ohio State, and we'll be able to do other stuff at 9:30. And I was like, telling my wife, like, hey, maybe we can get into something else this evening. I don't have to watch football from 4 to midnight. It's like, nope, this is going to be back-to-back, which is a treat. And
who would want to do anything other than watch football from 4 o'clock to midnight on New Year's Eve? I can't fathom what else you could possibly want to do.
I think it's more of like emotionally driven close football where the stakes are that high. Like it was just 8 straight hours of just wall-to-wall coverage, man.
You know what we actually did? We recorded, I think it's called Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve with Ryan Seacrest, the greatest title ever. So we recorded that at home. By the way,
before you keep going, because the first thing I said to my wife, I'm like, why? This is in what other line of work or what? Like, he's not a brand. He's a person.
Yeah, I guess he is. But I don't know.
I hope we're not the only ones who thought that was extremely weird, because I saw the advertisement. I'm like, that's so weird.
Yeah, but that made me laugh. But so we had our celebration at my brother's house after the game, New Year's and all that, and then came home with the Dawgs. And then we had to celebrate the ball dropping with the Dawgs, So they were none the wiser, Mm-hmm. So had to have the New Year's celebration with the Dawgs as well.
There you go. Do they like fireworks, or do they get scared and not like it?
I'm not really sure, because I feel like by the time we got home, I don't feel like there was really any fireworks going. So they did break out of their. We keep them downstairs, and we keep the stairs gated off, and. We have the camera. We have the camera set up downstairs, so you can kind of see if they've done anything. You can actually intercom like no, stop. Like if you see them doing something, I've done that a couple times. But they actually broke out. They're like afraid of this little plastic gate. I don't know why. They never get close to it. But we saw on the camera that the gate was turned over. I was like, oh, uh-oh. And so they were upstairs and didn't get into anything. So, Dawgs to start off the new year on the right foot. So Maddox will chew some shit. So Zeus is good. He's like, he just turned 10. Like Zeus is like, just leave me alone. I'm just chilling. Maddox is, he's a wild card. That's for sure.
I like it. Throw Maddox under the bus to start off the new year. Good guy Zeus. He's just here. He's doing rehab, man. He's got that knee, trying to get it 100%. PT once a week.
I've said before that they're like obviously dogs aren't children, but people compare dogs to children, and so like it's not like they're both our children. It's like Maddox is mine and Tori's child, but Zeus is like the grandfather that also lived like a King of Queens situation. Was Spooner, Arthur Spooner?
Yeah, Arthur Spooner. Yeah.
It feels like more like that situation.
I like it because the age gap. I mean, it's almost a 10-year gap between the two of them.
So 8 years on him.
Yeah, very different. Very different. Do you feel the better team won here in the TCU Michigan game, Matt Green?
Absolutely, sir. I was questioning the Big Ten. We had what was it, like 6 of the top 15 defenses in college football are in the Big Ten. It's like, okay, I know they're playing good defense over there in the Midwest, but something doesn't add up here. It's also because 8 of the bottom 30 offenses in the Big Ten in the country are also in the Big Ten. So seeing Michigan's number 1 ranked rush defense, obviously I think Michigan's has a really good defense, but TCU just got an attack that's unlike anything they've seen all year. Even what's his name, Penn State, Clifford, even he had 70, 80 yards rushing on Michigan. They haven't seen a team with two running backs this good, and also the quarterback being such a part of the rushing attack. So that was my prediction for this game, was that the team that won the running battle was going to win this game, because that's Michigan's whole identity. So they had to win it. And so I think I've been critical of JJ McCarthy. I think they made JJ McCarthy beat him, and he couldn't do it. And the 2 pick sixes, that was just massive. TCU was just making the plays they needed to make to win this game.
Yes. And I also think this was one of those games where I still have no idea what to make of JJ McCarthy. I don't know if you're with me. He's the only quarterback coming back from the playoff. Max Duggan's gone. Stetson Bennett's gone, and CJ Stroud is gone. And a lot of big-time quarterbacks are gone who have been on these teams. Hendon Hooker is gone, obviously. Sean Clifford, who you mentioned, is gone. You go through the top 10 of the sport, there's going to be a lot of quarterback turnover. And one area where it's not is JJ McCarthy. And I wrote down, I don't know if that's good or not. I have not decided. Where JJ was obviously doing amazing stuff on the ground with his legs, keeping it in it. He had some really bad picks, 2 pick sixes in this one, where it's you see the best in both of JJ McCarthy, where he can go out and win. He has a never say die mentality. He does the 1-sentence answer in the post game. He's staring off at TCU celebrating after the game. There's that picture of him taking it all in, like Stephon Diggs did last year.
Are you gonna hate on that? It felt like you were gonna hate on that.
I'm gonna say, my gut tells me he knew the cameras were there. My gut tells me that that's one of those where it's man, I think you know what's going on here. I think there may have been other things at play where it's it was not this organic. I'm just gonna pretend I don't even know there's a camera behind me taking a picture of me staring off into TCU, celebrating. And
hey, maybe that's just what Michigan guys are into. That Blake Corum.
Well, Stephon Diggs did it last year against Kansas City.
Corum watched Georgia celebrate in the Orange Bowl last year. But I
think it's a bit now. They're all just doing it.
Adding to your point, the top 7 teams in college football, McCarthy's the only one that's going to be coming back next year. Clemson has Klubnik coming back, so kind of a starter, but that's looking pretty up in the air after the Orange Bowl game. But so yeah, a lot of inexperience with some of the top teams at quarterback coming in next year.
Did the missed targeting call matter to you at the end?
It did not.
Okay.
I think by definition it may have been, but it's like it felt like actually me and my brother talked about this on Saturday because Jake always said he's a terrible basketball ref because he's like because we did ref like youth basketball for a little bit at one point, and certain times a guy like it's like you may have been fouled, but you just kind of like jumped at the guy. Like, I don't want to bail you out with that foul call. You know, it's like you played the wrong way. I'm not bailing you out for that. Fucking let's keep going. Like, no whistle. But that's kind of how I felt. It's like it's 4th and 10, like game's on the line. Like they mess up the snap. It's a rugby play. They're throwing it all around, trying to get something. And then the guy's going to the ground and the player's diving in. So yeah, he hits him kind of in the helmet. It's like, it was like a cluster, you know what, of a play, and it's like I just don't want to bail them out for that. They shouldn't get first down at like the 45-yard line, like with a chance to win the game after just like a shit show of a play. Like, I don't know. Like, I felt like that might not be how you're supposed to referee a game, but it felt like, I don't know. It felt like that was like the just outcome.
That's fair. It's also just I'm always a big believer in don't put yourself in a position where you need the refs to bail you out to keep your season alive or keep a game alive. I'm never in favor of that. What were some of the goal line calls by Michigan? Like, were you like even in the moment?
Yes.
It's like, what are you doing? Like the Philly special call, which Harbaugh took ownership of like they did not even like we learned how to end that call. That we'll never see that call again, Matt Green, because all you have to do is stand your ground. If you just don't move, it's over. Like, there's no path to you converting any of that. It was wild to just
I
see
think Harbaugh. Sorry, I think Harbaugh deserves a lot of blame for this one, honestly, because that just made no sense. The way you drove down the field on that first play, like so easily, and you have 4th and goal from it was from the 2, right? I think it was from the 2.
Yeah.
Like, you have 4th and goal from the 2, the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line. Like, you're built on your running game and your physicality. Like, if there's an advantage you have over TCU, it should be just the strength, the power, the offensive line, like all of that. So that's like a gut check moment. Like, you know, we're going to test their manhood. We're going to run it at them. Let's make them stop us. Worst case scenario, they got to drive 99 yards on us and they got the ball at the 1. But to run this Philly special, it's like, well, hold on, like that, you're like pulling on a trick play on the first drive of the game. That doesn't like send a message to your team that you believe in like us, like just kind of dominating their will or whatever. And it just didn't make any sense at all. Like, for what Michigan's identity is, like, how are you not just gonna try to bust it right up the gut? Honestly, like, just test their manhood, like, because that's who you are as Michigan. Like, that's what's gotten you to this point. It was so strange to me that you decide to bust out a trick play and that's it. It's obviously hindsight when it doesn't work, but the call in general just didn't make sense to me.
No, a lot of stuff here did not make sense to me. I didn't actually, you know what's funny with the stuff with the timeout calls late. Remember when like people were losing their minds? You have Jim Harbaugh, his dad, or Jack Harbaugh mouthing, "Jim, what are you doing?" when the camera panned to him. I understood what he was doing there, where I think sometimes coaches burn, like it was so close where I was like, he's going to do it once they get the first down. And it's like, from then on out, he's like, all right, we're giving us 3 straight. I'm going to burn 3 timeouts consecutively really quick. But I guess he wasn't banking on his defense getting a stop on the first set of downs for TCU, and then was going to do until he absolutely had to and get, like, maybe a turnover happens and we have all 3 timeouts. I didn't hate that as much because I was like, I think he looks at it too, where he just wants to make sure he has the ball last and like minimize his possessions, because at that point in the game, they were just going back and forth anyway.